A magnitude 3.1 earthquake, the strongest recorded on the Korean peninsula and surrounding waters so far this year, struck 21 kilometers west-northwest of Hanam County on Sunday, but caused no significant damage to the nearby Hanbit nuclear plant.
일요일인 어제 해남군 서북서쪽 21km 지점에서 규모 3.1의 지진이 발생했습니다. 이는 올해 들어 한반도 및 주변 지역에서 발생한 지진 중 가장 강력한 수준이었으나 인근에 위치한 한빛 원전에는 큰 영향이 없는 것으로 전해졌습니다.
Yeah.
A lot of people were surprised, right?
Yeah, they were. And, you know, it is surprising, but I don't think it's completely an anomaly anymore to have earthquakes here in Korea. This area specifically near Hanam County has been experiencing this sort of dense cluster of activity in recent days, 10 days to be exact. More than 70 tremors were experienced during that time, culminating in this 3.1 magnitude quake. And this happened about 6 years ago as well, when a 2-month period from April 2020, this exact same region experienced about 76 consecutive tremors, leading to a similar 3.1 earthquake at the time.
Wow.
So luckily, there have been no major reports of damage or human casualties. And luckily, the Hanbit nuclear plant, which lies just nearby there, is fully operational at this point.
Right. So on the Richter scale,
Yeah.
we talk about magnitude 3.1 or, you know, there's a number that comes after the word magnitude with earthquakes. And this is according to the Richter scale. So I understand that anything below 2 is hard to feel.
Right.
Anything above 2, you can feel it,
Sure.
but it's still not a strong earthquake.
Right.
If it's around maybe 6 or 7, then it becomes a very strong earthquake. And then
Right.
8 or 9, that's so destructive, right?
Yeah, and my understanding is the Richter scale isn't a linear scale. So a 7 earthquake doesn't mean it's double the power of a 3.5.
Right.
Yeah.
그래요. 그래서 이 릭터 스케일에 의해서 우리가 이제 지진의 규모를 말하게 되는데요. 보통은 2.0 이상 규모의 지진부터가 보통 우리가 일상생활하면서 느낄 수 있는 그런 지진이라고 합니다. 그러나 이제 아주 강력한 지진으로 가려면은 6, 7 그 정도는 돼야지 건물 자체가 이제 흔들리는 내지는 정말 무너지는 그런 일도 발생을 하는데 자 지금 해남에 어제 있었던 3.1 규모의 지진 많은 분들이 느끼셨습니다. 그래서 실제로 제보 전화가 굉장히 많이 있었다고 해요. 자 그런데 다행인 것은 그래도 한빛 원전에도 영향을 미치지 않았지만 그 외에도 다른 피해가 발생하지는 않았습니다. 많은 분들이 굉장히 이제 놀라시기는 하셨을 거고. You also said that there's been over 70 tremors over the past 10 days.
Yeah.
And that's including the ones that are hard to feel. But yeah, that's a lot of activity.
Yeah, we're talking 2.0 or higher in that case. Yeah.
자, 그러면 좀 표현을 보도록 하겠습니다. Surrounding waters.
Yeah, so it didn't affect just inland, but also the waters surrounding the Korean peninsula, which would be any sort of body of water near a particular area.
Yeah, often these seismic activities do occur from under the water.
Yeah.
And then they affect us inland as well. 자, 그래서 인근 해역이라고 할 때 인근, surrounding, 그 다음에 해역은 그냥 waters, water에다가 s를 붙이면 돼요. So we're talking about the surrounding waters around Hanam
Yes.
or around the Korean peninsula. Now, what about if something is very significant?
Right. So luckily in this case, there was no significant damage, meaning any noticeable or important, a large enough amount that it would make a difference.
Right. Something is significant 하면은 무언가가 굉장히 주목할 만한, 굉장히 중요한, 상당한 것이다. 이런 의미가 되고요. 여기서는 there was no significant damage. 그래서 그렇게 큰 피해는 없었다라고 볼 수 있겠습니다. 자, 다시 읽어볼게요. A magnitude 3.1 earthquake, the strongest recorded on the Korean peninsula and surrounding waters so far this year, struck 21 kilometers west-northwest of Hanam County on Sunday, but caused no significant damage to the nearby Hanbit nuclear plant. Let's move on to the second headline.
The UK Met Office has warned that a potentially record-breaking El Nino event, combined with human-induced climate change, is heavily disrupting global weather patterns and makes 2027 highly likely to become the hottest year on record.
영국 기상청은 인간이 초래한 기후변화의 영향에 더해 역사상 가장 강력할 것으로 보이는 최근의 엘니뇨 현상까지 겹친 결과 전 세계 기상 패턴이 크게 교란되고 있으며 오는 2027년이 역사상 가장 더운 해가 될 가능성이 매우 높다고 경고했습니다.
Yeah, this comes on the heels last week, Sue. If you remember, we talked about how another nonprofit had predicted that next year the probability of it being the hottest year on record has shot up from 12% to 69%.
Yeah.
But now we're getting similar data now from the UK where Pacific Sea temperatures have already surpassed normal levels by more than 2 degrees Celsius and are projected by some agencies to rise up to 4 degrees by the end of the year. And extreme weather patterns are already destabilizing, infrastructure, environments worldwide. We've had monsoons in India, drought in Central America. Here in Korea, too, we saw, of course, again, record-breaking temperatures down in South Gyeongsang province. So it looks like it's going to continue in the long term as well.
그래요. 이번에는 영국 기상청의 발표인데요. 지난주에는 또 다른 기관에서 비슷한 그 전망을 내놨습니다. 내년 여름이 올 여름보다 더 더울 것이다. 근데 올 여름도 지금 최종 데이터는 안 나왔지만 작년보다 더웠을 것으로 지금 보고 있거든요. 그러니까 점점 계속 더워지고 있는 건데 어디까지 언제까지 이렇게 더워질 것인지 참 많이 우려스럽습니다. 영국의 기상청은요, UK Met Office라고 해요. 근데 이게 Met가 원래는 meteorological, 우리도 쓰는 단어죠. 그건데 이제 너무 길다 보니까 발음하기도 힘들어요. 원어민도. 그죠? 그래서 그냥 UK Met Office라고 통상적으로 부르는 게 영국의 기상청입니다.
Right. Here in Korea, we call it the KMA.
네, KMA이고 우리는 MET라고 줄이진 않죠. 이제 만약에 full name을 말하면은 Korea Meteorological Administration이라고 하는데 it's a mouthful.
Yes.
It's very long and
Weather officials.
맞아요.
Yes.
그냥 weather agency 이렇게 말해도 되고. 그런데 자, 영국의 기상청이 이렇습니다. 나라마다 기상청을 부르는 이름들이 달라요. 자, 그리고 이제 climate change. 기후변화 얘기하면서 그 앞에 it's human induced.
Yeah, that means it's caused by human activity.
Yeah.
Right? When we talk about the environment or climate change, we hear this a lot as opposed to natural sort of processes. Any sort of artificial or human-made activities bring about these sort of results.
Right. So if you induce something, you're making something happen.
Exactly.
Right? 그래요. 그래서 인간 활동으로 유발된, 인간이 초래한 그런 기후변화라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. 그 다음에는요. Something is highly likely.
Yeah, so we're talking about predictions and estimates here. So they're not 100% sure, but if something's highly likely, it means it's very probable. It's expected to happen, more likely than not.
그러니까 여기서 말하는 highly likely는요. 가능성이 매우 높다는 뜻이죠. If you just say something is likely, 그러면 가능성이 있다.
Yeah.
highly likely, highly probable이라고도 할 수 있는데 매우 가능성이 높다.
Or highly, highly likely. Then it's even more probable.
Exactly. 그 굉장히 다양한 수식어로 붙일 수 있어요. super likely, so likely,
Extremely
very
likely.
extremely likely 좋네요. 네, 다 가능합니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The UK Met Office has warned that a potentially record-breaking El Nino event, combined with human-induced climate change, is heavily disrupting global weather patterns and makes 2027 highly likely to become the hottest year on record.
The U.S. has imposed a 50% tariff on $20 billion worth of Canadian goods following the collapse of trade talks, prompting Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney to vow immediate retaliatory measures of equivalent magnitude.
미국과 캐나다 간 무역 협상이 결렬되면서 미국이 200억 달러 규모의 캐나다산 수입품에 50% 관세를 부과하자 이에 마크 카니 캐나다 총리는 동일한 규모의 즉각적인 보복 관세 조치를 취하겠다고 밝혔습니다.
Yeah. A trade war is underway,
Yeah.
it seems like, between these two traditional allies. Initially, they had set an August 19th deadline for these trade talks, for this tariff to kick in. But unfortunately, trade talks collapsed.
Right.
And starting on midnight on the 22nd, the U.S. is imposing a 50% tariff on select products from Canada, including things like dairy products, liquor, hockey equipment,
Yeah.
machinery. Now, although it accounts for just roughly 5% of the total value of Canadian imports, but just the image-wise, it's just not a good look when you have these two allies engaging in these tit-for-tat measures sort of things. And Carney came out today, Prime Minister Carney came out today saying, vowing dollar-for-dollar tariffs in response to the U.S.'s moves.
Exactly. And early September, Canada has also a deadline
Yeah.
to announce what sort of tariffs it might impose on U.S. goods. So right now, it's mostly going to be American people affected when they want to buy Canadian goods
Yep.
because it's going to be more expensive. But within the next couple of weeks, we could see the same thing happening in Canada. All right, let's have a look at the collapse of trade talks.
Yeah, that means these negotiations, usually between countries in this case, failed to reach an agreement. They fell through, as they say.
collapse는
Yeah.
무너지는 거예요. 자, 그래서 동사로도 쓰지만 여기서는 명사죠. The collapse of something. 네, trade talks는 무역 협상이 되겠습니다. 우리가 이제 이런 미팅, 회의, 협상 이런 거 할 때 그냥 토크 뒤에다 s 붙여서 talks라고 많이 하죠. 여기서는 the collapse of trade talks between America and Canada가 되겠고 미국이 이렇게 굉장히 많은 캐나다의 수입품에 관세를 부과하겠다. 50% 관세나 부과하겠다. 이렇게 발표를 하니까 캐나다의 카니 총리가 그러면 우리도 당장
Yep.
보복 관세 조치를 취하겠다. 이렇게 얘기했어요. He said, he vowed, 맹세했어요. 근데 이 맹세라는 것은 좋은 맹세가 아니라 우리도 이렇게 할 거야.
Yeah.
라는 그런 얘기죠. 뭘 vow 했냐면 retaliatory measures.
Yes. So Canada is retaliating, right? Basically, they're responding to a harmful act or an action that's sort of hostile by doing the same thing. And that's this type of response. We call it a retaliatory measure, right?
단어가 쉽진 않은데요. 이제 보복성의 retaliatory 그리고 measures는 조치라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 보복 조치 retaliatory measures 보복하다는 retaliate라고 합니다. 자, 그리고 또 이제 equivalent magnitude라는 표현이 나오는데요. magnitude가 우리 지진의 규모 얘기할 때도 나오지만 여기서 말하는 거는 이제 이 관세의 규모. 그래서 magnitude 자체가 어떤 규모라고 보시면 돼요. equivalent는 동등하다. 캐나다가 우리도 그러면 같은 수준의 관세를 우리도 부과하겠다라고 지금 얘기를 한 상태입니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. The US has imposed a 50% tariff on $20 billion worth of Canadian goods following the collapse of trade talks, prompting Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney to vow immediate retaliatory measures of equivalent magnitude. Let's move on to the next headline.
Elderly individuals aged 65 and older who live with a dog have a 48% lower risk of developing dementia compared to those who do not, according to a recent study by a Japanese research team.
반려견과 함께 사는 65세 이상 고령자의 치매 발병 위험이 그렇지 않은 사람보다 48% 낮다는 일본 연구진의 최신 연구 결과가 나왔습니다.
Yeah. So researchers analyzed more than 11,000 residents in Tokyo aged 65 and older between 2016 and 2023 and found that owning a dog actually lowers your risk of developing dementia by 48%. Japan has an aging society, much like Korea. More than 5 million dementia patients, in fact, in the country, which is facing sort of a crisis at this point, which is one of the highest dementia rates in the OECD. But despite the benefits, only 8.6% surveyed own dogs because of their inability or their lack of ability to care for a pet while they're aging themselves.
2016년부터 2023년까지 11,000명 이상의 도쿄 주민들을 대상으로 65세 이상의 주민이었고요. 그들을 대상으로 이제 반려견을 키우는 사람, 또 그렇지 않은 사람, 그다음에 치매 발병률을 같이 봤더니 반려견과 함께 사는 고령자들이 치매 위험이 현저히 낮았습니다. 48%나 차이가 났다고 하는데요. 이거는 아마 이제 뭐 강아지 자체가 무슨 치매를 발병하지 않게 하는 것보다는 아마 그 생활 습관 계속 서로 챙겨주게 되고
Yeah.
보살핌을 받고 또 주고 여러 가지로 좀 액티브하게 살아야 되잖아요. I've never had a dog, but you have, so
Oh, yeah.
계속 뭔가 움직이고 루틴하게 해야 되죠.
Yeah. Well, not just that. I think just having companionship
Okay.
alone, it's hard to measure just really the value of having a pet, I think.
Right, we're looking at individuals.
Yeah. So in this case, when we're talking in a formal context, we're talking about a poll here or a study. It's basically a fancy way to say people,
Yeah,
right?
맞아요. 개개인, 사람들, 영어로 individuals라고 말할 수 있습니다. And what about the risk of developing dementia?
Yeah. So when you develop a condition, in this case, like dementia, you're getting that illness, right? You're developing that illness, but the possibility or likelihood of it is basically the risk of developing it.
이 develop라는 게 이제 개발의 의미로 많이 알고 계실 텐데요. 질병과 함께 붙었을 때는 그런 질병이나 문제가 생긴다라고 해석을 합니다.
Yeah.
그래서 the risk of developing dementia라는 것은 이제 치매 발병의 가능성을 얘기하고 있는 거겠죠. 자, 그런가 하면 또 뉴스에서도 우리가 developing을 많이 쓰는데 this is a developing story라고 하면은 지금 아직 종결되지 않은 아직도 진행 중인 그런 사건이다.
Yeah.
이런 느낌으로 말하죠.
Yeah, and dementia is something that it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Usually it's a gradual process. So I think that's why developing is used.
아,
possibly.
오케이.
Yeah.
그럴 수도 있겠네요. 네, 정말 이게 하루아침에 딱 생기는 게 아니라 점진적으로 악화가 되는 면이 있기 때문에 그래서 예를 들자면은 갑자기 생기는 경우에는 you could maybe catch or get a disease.
Or break a bone.
그럴 수 있는데 dementia와는 이제 developing이 붙는 게 자연스럽죠.
Yeah. Cancer too, I think. You develop cancer.
You develop cancer.
Yeah.
그것도 이제 점차
Right.
그게 단계가 있으니까 그럴 수 있겠네요. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Elderly individuals aged 65 and older who live with a dog have a 48% lower risk of developing dementia compared to those who do not, according to a recent study by a Japanese research team. Now let's move on to our final story.
A 26-year-old former car salesman has been legally recognized as a prince and heir after a senior member of the Belgian royal family confirmed paternal parentage through a DNA test.
벨기에에서 자동차 판매원으로 일하던 한 26세 남성이 벨기에 왕실의 주요 인사가 DNA 검사를 통해 자신의 친자임을 확인하면서 그의 법적 아들인 왕자이자 후계자로 인정받았습니다.
Yeah.
This is like a Princess Diaries story.
Right. More like a Prince Diaries,
Yeah.
perhaps, right? So this apparently came to light just a couple of months ago. It was known by the individuals, but Belgium's Prince Laurent, right, formalized parental rights to recognize 26-year-old former car salesman Clément Vanderkajkhoff as his biological son and heir. I might be pronouncing that wrong. But basically, I guess this son was born out of wedlock,
Yes,
was it?
that's
okay,
right, yeah.
Okay, that happened. And
His mother's a singer, I believe.
is a famous figure in Belgium. But I guess apparently with this legal recognition, he doesn't receive a public royal allowance. So no taxpayer money is actually going to him directly. But he does hold equal inheritance rights. So, he was born as a prince and he will get some benefits for it, it seems like.
그래요.
Yeah.
약간 그 프린세스 다이어리즈 영화 스토리처럼 그 카 세일즈만으로 그냥 평범하게 살다가 이제 나중에 알고 보니까 자신이 이 왕족의 혈통이었다. 이런 거를 깨닫게 된 건데요. 근데 이제 이 스토리를 좀 더 깊이 살펴보게 되면은 영화와는 다른 점이 많이 있습니다.
Yeah.
일단은 지금 당장 알게 된 거는 아니고요. 아마 어릴 때는 전혀 모르다가 엄마 밑에서 싱글맘 밑에서 자랐었는데 엄마가 이제 가수 출신이래요. 네, 그래서 그렇게 이제 잘 살다가 성인이 되고 나서 그다음에 사실은 이제 엄마가 알려준 거죠. 너의 친아버지는 그 러렁 왕자님이다. 러렁 왕자는요, 현재 벨기에 왕의 남동생입니다. 근데 왕이 아닌 사람들은 다 이제 왕자죠.
Yep.
그래서 왕의 남동생의 아들, 혼외자인 거예요. 근데 혼외자를 영어로는 이렇게 동사로 표현을 해가지고 born out of wedlock라고 합니다. wedding 할 때 wed고요. lock는 잠겨져 있다. 근데 wedlock는 그렇게 혼인된 관계 안에서라는 뜻인데 out of wedlock니까 혼외에
Yeah.
태어났다. born out of wedlock 이렇게 표현하는 게 이제 혼외자라는 뜻이에요. 그래서 본인이 그런 혼외자라는 것은 엄마를 통해서 듣고 알고는 있었는데 작년쯤에 DNA 테스트로 이게 완전히 확실시 됐고 그 다음에 그전에는 러렁 왕자가 요거를 잘 밝히지 않았었다가 작년부터는 맞다 인정을 했대요. 근데 이 사실이 바로 지금 며칠 전에 최근에서야 수면 위로 드러난 겁니다.
Yep.
당사자들은 알고 있었는데 이 소셜 미디어에다가
Yes.
이 지금 주인공이죠. 주인공이 우리 두 아버지에게 참 감사해요 하면서 본인의 아마 같이 산 또 다른 아버지가 있나 봐요. 그러고 나서 또 이 왕자의 사진을 같이 올려가지고
Yeah.
나의 두 아버지 이렇게 올리니까 사람들이 이제 궁금해서 서칭을 하다가 이렇게 알려지게 된 거죠.
Not as romantic as the Princess Diaries.
네, 그래요. 그리고 이제 그 rights도 설명을 해주셨는데 맞아요. 그래서 Princess Diaries 영화에서는 앤 해서웨이가 그 다음에 공주로 살잖아요.
Yeah.
그렇게 살게 되지는 않습니다. 왜냐하면은 지금 이 카 세일즈맨인 아까 이름이 뭐였죠? 클레멘트?
Yep.
클레멍? 클레멍이 자신이 이제 그 어머니의 성을 계속 쓰고 있는 것 같아요. 근데 내가 이 성을 없애고 싶지 않다. 나의 어머니에 대한 존경의 표시고, 근데 이걸 없애야지만 아마 정말 어떻게 왕의 가족에 편입이 되는 것 같은데 그렇게 하고 싶지 않다고 밝혔고, 그래서 어떤 이제 왕자로서의 여러 가지 rights 그런 것들이 있지는 않지만 다만 자신의 이제 친부인 그 러렁 왕자의 유산 상속은 받을 수 있답니다. 나중에.
Most important.
네,
Yeah.
그래요. 자, 표현 좀 볼게요. He's been legally recognized as a prince.
Yeah. So he's been officially accepted or acknowledged under law as the prince.
네,
Yes.
네, 그래요. 그래서 법적으로 인정을 받았다. He's been legally recognized. And what about the word parentage?
Yeah, this is it's a very formal sort of way to talk about parenthood. All right, it's a person's family origin or identity related to their parents.
parentage라고 하면은 혈통, 친자 관계라는 뜻이에요. 그래서 paternal parentage가 확인이 됐다. 아버지와 친부와의 혈통 관계가 확인이 됐다. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A 26-year-old former car salesman has been legally recognized as a prince and heir after a senior member of the Belgian royal family confirmed paternal parentage through a DNA test. All right, well, that's it for today's stories.
Repeated heat waves, heavy rains, and rising raw material costs are driving up grocery bills in the country ahead of Chuseok next month, triggering sharp price increases for fresh vegetables and a domino effect of price hikes across major processed foods and bakery items.
다음 달 추석을 앞두고 반복되는 폭염과 폭우, 원자재 가격 상승으로 인해 장바구니 물가가 오르고 있는 가운데 특히 채소류 가격이 급등하고 여기에 주요 가공식품 및 제과류까지 줄줄이 가격 인상이 이어지고 있습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, the weather has been kind of crazy. It seemed like we were experiencing Changma or the monsoon season again recently with very humid and a lot of rain as well as hot weather. But the weather has fluctuated. And so the heat wave, heavy rain, is pushing up fruit and vegetable prices in Korea, and it's raising concerns because we have the Chuseok holiday coming up next month. So as of August 21st, the retail price of spinach, they say, has jumped over 55% from a month earlier, while mini cabbage and perilla leaves rose 52.2% and 25.8% respectively, with cucumbers, squash, green chili peppers also becoming more expensive. And it's not just fresh produce. Processed foods are also getting pricier, with major manufacturers raising prices on products such as instant noodles, beverages, dumplings, and instant rice amid higher raw materials and packaging costs, with the weak won also playing a role in that. So bread and restaurant chains have joined the trend, with a lot of the bread, the bakeries announcing price hikes, adding to concerns that food inflation will intensify ahead of the holiday season.
My goodness. 추석을 앞두고 전반적으로 음식물 가격이 오르고 있기는 한데요. 그중에서도 특히 시금치 가격이 한 달 전에 비해서 무려 55%나 올랐다고 합니다.
Yeah.
그래서 한 단을 사게 되면은 이제 몇천 원 더 비싸요.
Yes.
이게 시금치 우리가 한 단만 사지 않잖아요.
No.
그러니까 굉장히 부담이 될 수가 있고, 그 외에도 뭐 지금 많이 언급을 해주셨는데, 뭐 라면, 만두, 뭐 간식 얘기도 하셨고, 그런 음식들뿐만 아니라 가공식품, 네. 인스턴트 누들스, 라면 같은 경우에도 가격들이 다 오르는데, 이제 이거 라면 같은 경우에는 뭐 날씨와는 상관이 없잖아요.
Yeah.
근데 그거는 이제 원자재 가격이 많이 올랐기 때문이다. 중동 전쟁의 여파로 그렇다고 합니다. 그 이유가 참 여러 가지네요.
Yeah,
너무
everything's kind of
더웠다가,
coming together.
네,
Yeah.
그다음에 또 이제 장마 뭐 또 이어지고 그러는 이제 날씨의 fluctuation. 올라갔다 내려갔다, when the weather goes up and down, when prices go up and down, that fluctuates. 이 날씨의 영향도 있고, 그 다음에 중동 전쟁의 여파, 이런 것들로 인해서 지금 이제 여러 가지 장을 좀 많이 봐야 될 시기가
Yeah.
다가오는데 부담이 될 수밖에 없습니다.
Yeah.
Okay, it's triggering price increases.
Right. When something triggers something else, it means it causes some sort of event, process, or a strong reaction to start or happen. So it basically means it makes something begin or makes something to start.
To trigger something. 무언가를 유발하다. 무언가를 촉발하다. Trigger itself it's the thing on a gun, isn't
Yeah.
it? A pistol.
Right.
그렇죠. 그 방아쇠거든요, 원래. 그렇기 때문에 방아쇠를 당기면은 총이 이렇게 발사가 되는 것처럼 무언가가 촉발이 된다. 이런 뜻이 되겠습니다.
Yep.
여기서는요, 뭐라고 했냐면은 we're looking at heat waves, heavy rains, raw material prices going up, 원자재 가격 상승, 이런 것들이 it's triggering sharp price increases. 아주 급격한 가격 상승을 불러일으키고 있다.
Yep.
그것이 원인이다라는 뜻으로 이제 앞에 것들이 원인이다. 이렇게 해석을 할 수 있겠고요. 자, 이어서 a domino effect of price hikes.
Right. So, dominoes, it's when you set those little blocks up and then when you touch one and that falls down, it triggers the rest to fall down altogether. So it's like a chain reaction.
Right.
And the price hikes would be when the price increases. So we're talking about a chain reaction where an increase in the cost of one key good or service, it triggers a sequential wave of price increases across related industries and the broader economy.
price hike가 앞서 나왔던 price increase랑 같은 말이죠. 그래서 가격 인상인데 그 앞에 있는 domino effect of는 이런한 도미노 효과. 근데 사실은 이제 뭐 하나의 가격이 올라서 다른 것들이 올랐다기보다는 엄밀히 따지면은 지금 이 여러 가지 가공식품들의 가격이 이제 줄줄이 인상이 되고
Yeah.
있거든요. 그래서 뭐 앞에 것 때문에 그런 건 아니긴 하지만 지금 같은 이유로 원자재 가격이 올랐기 때문에 뭐 라면 같은 여러 가지 이제 가공식품들의 가격이 뭐 빠르게는 6월부터 가격이 오른 제품도 있고 뭐 다음 달 9월부터 가격이 오르는 제품도 있고요. 이제 리스트가 이제 뉴스 저도 보다 보니까 그 리스트가 하나 있더라고요.
Yeah.
그러면서 이제 날짜별로 언제 가격이 인상되는지 이미 인상된 것도 꽤 있습니다.
Yes, we're feeling it because everything seems to be more expensive when you go out to eat. It's more expensive these days.
Yeah, definitely. 그래서 그런 의미에서 뭐 도미노 에펙트, 뭐 그냥 줄줄이 가격이 인상이 되고 있다. 이런 의미가 되겠습니다. 뭐 좀 더 구체적으로 말씀드리자면은 뭐 브랜드 이름은 좀 빼고 뭐 어떤 사이다 음료 같은 경우에는 6월 중순부터 가격 올랐고요. 그다음에 여러 가지 그 즉석 밥 있잖아요. 뭐 만두 이런 것들은 또 7월 말. 빵, 케이크 중에 일부도 역시 7월 말. 컵 라면 8월 초. 빵, 케이크, 디저트 이제 한 브랜드의 이런 제품들이 8월 중순, 컵라면, 음료 제품별로 다른데 9월 초쯤에 다 줄줄이 가격이 인상된다고 합니다.
Yeah.
그거를 여기서
Everything's going up.
맞아요. 그걸 여기서 domino effect of price hikes라고 표현을 하고 있네요. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Repeated heat waves, heavy rains, and rising raw material costs are driving up grocery bills in the country ahead of Chuseok next month, triggering sharp price increases for fresh vegetables and a domino effect of price hikes across major processed foods and bakery items. Let's move on to headline number 2.
The Financial Foundation for Elderly Koreans has shifted significantly from children's allowances to public pensions, boosting their average income by nearly 80% over the past decade.
우리나라 노년층의 경제적 기반이 자녀로부터 받는 용돈에서 국민연금 및 기초연금 등 공적 연금으로 크게 전환되면서 지난 10년간 노인 1인당 연간 평균 소득이 80% 가까이 증가했습니다. What do we know?
Yeah, so this shows that the elderly population in Korea, they are increasingly relying on public pensions rather than the financial support from their children, with average annual income among people aged 66 and older rising 79.2% over the past decade to 13.88 million won in 2023. So they're saying that the share of public pensions in seniors' total income rose from 16.5% to 28.2%, while income from family members fell sharply as a share of total income from 20.9% to 12.1%. However, a significant income gap does remain, with seniors receiving only the national pension had an average annual income of 26.48 million won in 2023, which was 3.1 times that of those receiving only the basic pension. And the National Pension Research Institute said the trend towards greater public pension support is positive, but called for more targeted policies to protect low-income seniors who rely solely on the basic pension.
자, 그러니까 10년 전이랑 그다음에 이제 비교적 최근을 비교한 겁니다. 2013년과 2023년의 두 데이터를 놓고 비교를 한 게 바로 어제 발표가 됐는데요. 2013년 같은 경우에는 국민연금에 의한 노인층의 소득이요. 이제 대략적으로 한 27만 원, 요게 월이겠죠. 그런데 그다음에 이제 현재는 이제 2023년 기준 75만 원, 그러니까 177%나 증가했다라고 볼 수 있겠고요. 뭐 그런 식으로 기초연금 같은 경우에는 소득 증가율이 10년 사이에 156%나 증가했고, 동시에 수급받는 분들도 계시죠. 동시에 수급을 할 경우에는 소득이 무려 300%나 증가를 했다고 합니다.
Yeah.
자, 그런데 이제 평균적으로 봤을 때는 이제 80%의 증가율을 기록하고 있습니다. 이제 가장 소득을 적게 받으시는 분과 많이 받으시는 분의 차이도 좀 크기는 해요. 자, 그런데 표현을 좀 보자면은, 이제 더 이상 성인 자녀의 용돈에 의존하지 않는다. 용돈, 영어로는요?
Allowance. So we usually use this when we talk about money, like the pocket money that adults or parents give to their children. But in this case, it was used to refer to the money that grown-up children give to their parents. So it's talking about a set amount of money, or it could be time or other resources that are given regularly for a specific purpose.
Exactly. 자, 그러니까 용돈을 영어로 allowance라고 하는데요. ALLOWANCE가 되겠습니다. 아, 그리고 또 제가 좀 아까 그 단위를 좀 헷갈렸어가지고, 그 말씀드렸던 액수 같은 경우에는 거기다가 times 10,000원, 곱하기 10,000원을 더 해야 됩니다. 그래서 총소득을 언급을 했어야 되는 건데, 네, 제가 이제 요 마지막 단위를 좀 빼놓고 말씀을 드렸었네요. 증가율만 좀 참고하시면 되겠습니다. 자, boost 한번 볼까요?
To boost means to increase. So when we're talking about boosting their average income, it's talking about taking some sort of action or applying policies that raise the typical earnings of a specific group of people, workers, or households. So to boost in this case would be to raise their average income.
맞아요. 그래서 boost라는 것은 끌어올린다라는 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 부스터 시트, 우리 아기들, 이게 좀 너무 키가 작으니까 식탁 위에다가 보조 의자 같은 거 올려놓잖아요. 그런 거 부스터 시트라고 하죠. 이제 조금 더 앉은 키를 높이게 하는 거. 이렇게 올리는 거고요. 2013년 같은 경우에는 이제, 노년층의 연간 총소득이 대략 770만 원 정도였는데 10년 후인 2023년 같은 경우에는 1,380만 원 정도가 됐습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The financial foundation for elderly Koreans has shifted significantly from children's allowances to public pensions, boosting their average income by nearly 80% over the past decade.
Gyeongbokgung Palace is set to open the Gyeonghaeru and Hwangwonjeong pavilions for special guided fall tours every Wednesday and Friday from September 2nd through October 30th.
경복궁이 오는 9월 2일부터 10월 30일까지 매주 수요일과 금요일에 경회루와 향원정을 개방해 국가유산 해설사의 해설을 들으며 이들 전각을 감상할 수 있는 하반기 특별 관람 행사를 운영합니다. Sounds exciting.
Yes, it's wonderful news for not just local visitors, but visitors from abroad who want to get a taste of Korea's royal palaces and traditional culture. So this is a project that's being led by the Cultural Heritage Foundation. So a cultural heritage interpreter will be leading these tours. So visitors will be able to explore Gyeonghaeru's architecture, climb its second floor for views of the palace and the surrounding mountains. The whole area is a beautiful place, you know, located right in the heart of the city. And then they'll be able to cross the bridge there and then look at the royal gardens. Gyeonghaeru served as a venue for royal banquets and receptions during the Joseon dynasty. Hwangwonjeong was a leisurely space for the royal family, so you can kind of get a feel for how the royals enjoyed their leisure time and their how they held their banquets. The tours will not operate on public holidays or during the Royal Palace Cultural Festival, which will be held from October 7th through 11th, while an invitational tour for multicultural families and people with hearing impairments will be held on August 31st, so you can take note of that.
네. 자, 9월 2일부터 10월 30일입니다. 물론 운영하지 않는 일부 날도 있어요. 법정 공휴일이라든지 아니면 가을 궁중 문화 축전 기간인 10월 7일부터 11일 사이 요때는 이제 운영을 하지 않지만 그 외에는 이제 매주 수요일과 금요일 시간도 보니까요. 오전 10시 타임이 있고 오후 2시 타임이 있더라고요. 그래서 여러분이 좋은 시간에 이렇게 딱 예약해서 가면은 정말 좋겠다라는 생각이 드는데 경회루 같은 경우에는 예전에 banquet, 만찬이나 연회 이런 게 많이 열렸던 곳이군요. 굉장히 그 화려한 모습을 좀 상상하게 되는데 예, 향원정 같은 경우에는 또 왕과 가족이 휴식을 취하던 그런 곳이니까 또 여러분이 왕이 돼서 이렇게 상상하는 거. 우리 어린이들 데리고 가면은 참 좋겠다는 생각이 들어요.
Wear your hanboks.
한복 입고 가면은 혜택이 있나요? 네, 그래도 기분 좋죠.
Yeah.
네. 자, 그래요. 표현 좀 보겠습니다. A pavilion.
A pavilion is a roofed open structure, so it doesn't have walls, and it's usually used for public events, sports, or exhibitions, or as a shelter.
이게 누각이나 정자를 얘기해요. pavilion이라고 하면. 그래서 경회루 and 향원정 pavilions라고 표현을 하고 있고. And what's a guided tour?
A guided tour is a visit to a place or an area that's led by a person. It could also be, they have audio tours as well, or a printed guidebook. And these guides, they show the way and explain facts about the site.
그러니까 가이드가 딸린 여행. 그게 guided tours가 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. 경복궁 Palace is set to open the 경회루 and 향원정 pavilions for special guided fall tours every Wednesday and Friday from September 2nd through October 30th. Now let's move on to the next headline.
Colon cancer ranked as Korea's third most common among people newly diagnosed with cancer as of 2023 after thyroid and lung cancer, according to data released by the Ministry of Health and Welfare and the Korea Central Cancer Registry.
보건복지부와 중앙암등록본부가 발표한 통계에 따르면 2023년 기준 국내 신규 암 환자들 중 대장암이 갑상선암과 폐암 다음으로 많이 발생한 것으로 나타났습니다. 대장암은 영어로 colon cancer라고 합니다. Tell us more.
So it was the third most common newly diagnosed cancer in Korea, and irritable bowel syndrome apparently affects a significant share of people seeking treatment for digestive systems. So experts are recommending increasing dietary fiber by eating a lot of vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, and nuts while cutting back on processed meat, which has been linked to reduced gut microbial diversity and a higher risk of colon cancer. And this is kind of concerning because, earlier we talked about higher prices for a lot of vegetables and fruits. So fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, kombucha, they may also promote a more diverse gut microbiome and help reduce inflammation. So doctors are recommending eating more of those foods as well. But I think the important part is trying to reduce or cut back on eating the processed foods and eating more fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, and whole grains, nuts, these foods that are more healthy for you.
그래요. 이 장의 개선을 위해서는 이제 건강하게 식습관을 좀 바꾸는 것이 좀 필요하겠죠. 원래 건강하게 드시는 분들은 그대로 쭉 하시면 되겠고 채소 과일 섭취 굉장히 중요하다라고 합니다. 저는 이 기사를 보면서 굉장히 눈에 띄었던 대목이 뭐냐면은 바로 이제 기분과 수면을 조절하는 세로토닌이 95%가 장에서 나온다. 그렇기 때문에 장 건강이 좋지 않으면은 잠도 제대로 자지 못할 수 있고 만성 피로를 겪을 수 있다라고 해서 역시 이제 영어로도 gut 그러니까 모든 것의 어떤 직감적인 처음 우리가 느끼는 것 그것의 어떤 연결고리를 가지고 얘기 많이 하잖아요.
Yeah, that gut feeling.
그게 참 어떤 근거가 있다라는 생각이 들기도 했었고 어쨌든 이제 장내 세균, 장 건강 조금 더 신경을 써야겠습니다.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at something that is the most common.
Most common. It means it's occurring, found, or done more often than anything else. And actually, commonest is also grammatically correct.
Oh, is it?
But it's rarely used. Most
Never
people
heard
use most common the most. But I found out, this is also something that I found out that's new to me too. But commonest is also grammatically correct.
Wow, the superlative of common is apparently commonest.
Yeah.
But most of the time we just say most common.
Most common, yes.
가장 흔한, most common. 자, 그다음에는 이제 diagnosed with something.
If you're diagnosed with something, this means that a doctor or an expert has identified a specific medical condition, illness, or problem after examining a person.
어떠한 병을 진단받았다라고 할 때 someone is diagnosed with something이라고 표현을 합니다. 자, 그 외에도 좀 어려운 단어들 thyroid는 갑상선이고요.
Yep.
lung은 폐가 되겠죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Colon cancer ranked as Korea's third most common among people newly diagnosed with cancer as of 2023. After thyroid and lung cancer, according to data released by the Ministry of Health and Welfare and the Korea Central Cancer Registry. Let's move on to the final headline.
Soprano Sumi Jo has joined the list of Korean cultural and sporting icons, including BTS, Son Heung-min, and Faker, who have been honored with commemorative medals by the Korea Minting and Security Printing Corporation.
소프라노 조수미가 방탄소년단, 손흥민, 페이커 등 한국 문화 스포츠계를 대표하는 아이콘들에 이어 한국 조폐공사가 제작한 기념 메달의 주인공이 됐습니다. I'm looking at the images of the coins right now, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised she hasn't joined this list already because she is quite a figure in Korea's, cultural scene. But she has joined this growing list of Korean cultural and sporting icons that have been honored with commemorative medals by the Korea Minting and Security Printing Corporation, or KOMSCO, which recently issued a medal marking the 40th anniversary of her international debut. The medal features Jo on the front and her acclaimed performance as Gilda in Rigoletto, which launched her global career in 1986 on the reverse side. KOMSCO has recently expanded its medal series beyond historical figures to celebrate Korea's global cultural and sporting stars like BTS, as I mentioned. 17 has been featured. Son Heung-min, Faker, 조성진, An Se-young, as we mentioned before, is also on one of the medals. The medals are designed as lasting records of figures who have raised Korea's international profile, with proceeds from some issues also supporting causes such as youth soccer and hospital programs.
그러니까 문화, 예술, 스포츠계의 인사들을 이렇게 메달 형태로 제작을 해가지고요. 벌써 50년 넘게 조폐공사에서 이런 기념 메달을 제작해 오고 있습니다. 기념 메달 같은 경우에는요, 기념 주화와는 달리 액면가가 표시되어 있진 않습니다. 그래서 화폐로 사용할 수는 없고요. 그러나 이제 굉장히 의미 있는 그런 기념 메달이라고 보시면 되겠습니다. Okay, so 조수미 or Sumi Jo has been honored with this.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Yeah, if you're honored with something, it means that you either receive a special award, a special title, or maybe a formal distinction as a sign of respect, public praise, or recognition.
To be honored with something. 어떤 명예를 얻다, 무엇을 수여받다라는 뜻이 있어서요. 이제 조수미 씨도 역시 마찬가지로 이런 이제 메달이 얼굴이 나온 메달이 제작됐기 때문에 그런 명예를 얻었다? 이렇게 볼 수 있겠죠. 뒤에 나오는 단어가 commemorative medal입니다.
Yep. A commemorative medal is a specially designed metal piece that has been created to honor a specific historic event. It could be a military campaign, an anniversary, or a specific milestone, rather than some sort of competitive ranking. So it's a metal piece that has been specifically designed.
기념 메달을 commemorative medal이라고 합니다. 자, 그래서 뭐 기념식을 commemoration event라고 표현을 할 수도 있겠죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Soprano Sumi Jo has joined a list of Korean cultural and sporting icons, including BTS, Son Heung-min, and Faker, who have been honored with commemorative medals by the Korea Minting and Security Printing Corporation. Well, that's it for the headlines this morning.
The number of Koreans aged 100 or older nearly tripled over the past decade to reach more than 8,600 as of November 2025, driven by medical advances and healthy lifestyle habits, with women accounting for over 80% of all centenarians.
의료기술 발전과 건강한 생활 습관에 힘입어 우리나라 100세 이상 고령자가 작년 11월 기준 8,600명을 넘어서면서 10년 만에 거의 3배로 늘어났으며 이 중 여성 고령자가 전체의 80% 이상을 차지한 것으로 나타났습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so more people in Korea are living past the age of 100 or living to 100 or past the age of 100.
Yeah.
They say that over a 10-year span, the number of people who have lived to 100 or lived beyond that age reached 8,604 in 2025, and that's an increase from an increase of over threefold. They say that women accounted for 83.4% of these centenarians. Of course, women do have a longer lifespan than men, but they say the number of men in the age group also grew more rapidly, increasing 3.3-fold over the past 10 years. They did say that most centenarians had no formal education and had lost their spouses, while 90% had at least one chronic illness. The survey also found that healthy habits were common among the group, of course, with 86.9% saying that they had never smoked and 70.6% saying that they had never consumed alcohol.
술, 담배 하지 않는 게 이제 장수 비결 중에 하나가 되겠네요. 그 외에도 소식, 적게 먹는 것, 절제된 식생활 이런 것들도 하나의 장수 비결로 리포트가 꼽았는데요.
Yep.
전체적으로 보게 되면은 2015년 대비 2025년에는 100세 이상 고령자가 거의 3배나 늘었습니다. 2.7배인데요. 2015년 같은 경우에는 남성의 경우에는 428명, 그리고 2025년에는 1,428명이었어요. 그래서 1,000명이 늘었네요.
Yeah.
요 10년 사이에. 그다음에 이제 여성 고령자, 100세 이상 고령자입니다. 2025년에는 2,731명이었는데요. 2025년에는 7,000명이 넘었습니다. 네. 근데 이제 단순히 얼마나 증가했는지 그 비율만 놓고 보게 되면은 남성 고령자가 상당히 많이 늘었다라는 걸 볼 수 있어요. 뭐 전체적인 숫자는 여성이 많지만.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at the expressions to triple.
To triple. It means that something has multiplied by 3 or had a threefold increase.
A threefold increase라는 것도 역시 3배 늘었다라는 뜻인데요. 그거를 그냥 한 단어로 triple라고 표현을 해도 되겠죠. 거의 3배 는 겁니다. 실제로는 10년 사이에 2.7배가 늘었어요. 우리나라 100세 이상의 고령자. 이걸 한 단어로 표현하는 게 있죠.
Yes, very easy to say. Well, not easy to say, but it's just in one word. It's centenarians. It's spelled CENTENARIAN.
Centenarian, like century.
Like century, yes.
Which means 100 years. So the new century, the 21st century, we use these expressions to talk about 100 years. But a centenarian is a person who is over 100 years old.
Right.
자, 100세 이상의 고령자는 centenarian이라고 합니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. The number of Koreans aged 100 or older nearly tripled over the past decade to reach more than 8,600 as of November 2025, driven by medical advances and healthy lifestyle habits, with women accounting for over 80% of all centenarians. Let's move on to the second headline.
Foreign tourist arrivals to Korea surged by more than 20% in July year-on-year to reach nearly 2.1 million visitors, pushing cumulative arrivals for the first 7 months of the year to well beyond pre-pandemic levels.
지난달 한국을 찾은 외국인 관광객이 지난해 같은 기간보다 20% 이상 늘어나 210만 명에 육박한 가운데 1월에서 7월 누적 방한객 수는 코로나 팬데믹 이전 수준을 훨씬 넘어선 것으로 집계됐습니다. Alright, what do we know?
Well, I think this is a common theme these days. A lot of tourists are visiting Korea and the numbers are just going up. I think we talked about how credit card spending by foreigners have been increasing. And we have figures for July. So 2.09 million foreign tourists visited Korea in July, and that's up 20.8% from a year earlier. And that's reaching nearly 145% of the pre-pandemic level recorded in July of 2019. So we have gone beyond what was recorded before pandemic occurred, or before COVID-19 occurred.
Yeah.
So where are these tourists coming from? China still remains the largest source market with about 777,000 visitors of the 2.09 million. And that was followed by Japan and Taiwan, so our closest neighboring countries. Taiwanese arrivals posted particularly strong growth, and the number of international visitors in the first 7 months of the year reached 12.8 million. That's also up 21.3% year on year and nearly 130% of the 2019 levels. So it seems like the numbers have fully recovered and plus some from before COVID. Meanwhile, 2.42 million South Koreans traveled abroad in July. That's a little bit down. It's down 0.7% from a year earlier, although outbound travel for the first 7 months recovered to 98.5% of the pre-pandemic level.
outbound travel이라고 하면은 이제 해외로 여행 가는 우리 국민을 얘기하고 있는 거고요. 우리가 수출 얘기할 때도 outbound shipments라고 하죠. 그래서 밖으로 향하는 outbound라는 단어가 이렇게 사람한테도 물건에다가도 쓸 수가 있습니다. 자, 그런데요. 우리나라를 찾는 그런 관광객이 상당히 많이 늘어서 코로나 이전 수준을 되찾은 정도가 아니라 넘어섰습니다.
Well beyond, right?
Well beyond. Tell us about that expression.
Yeah, it went well beyond. You can also say far beyond, but the expression today was well beyond, and that means substantially more than or far past a specific limit, expectation, or boundary.
그러니까 여기서 well이 훨씬이에요. beyond는 뛰어넘었다. 그래서 코로나 이전 대비 훨씬 뛰어넘는 방한객 수를 말하고요. 그다음에 누적 관광객 수인데 누적 입국자 수, cumulative arrivals?
Right. So arrivals refers to the number of non-Korean passport holders that have entered the country. And when we are talking about cumulative, we're talking about the total running sum. So the total number of foreign tourists that have entered the country.
네, cumulative는 누적의 의미가 있고요. arrivals는 우리 공항에서도 입국 장소에서 arrivals라는 글씨 보셨을 거예요. 출국장은 departure 이렇게 써 있고. 자, 그래서 arrivals라는 게 뭐 입국의 의미도 있지만 입국자 또는 입국자 수가 될 수도 있어요. 여기서도 그런 의미입니다. 누적 입국자 수, cumulative arrivals. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Foreign tourist arrivals to Korea surged by more than 20% in July year on year to reach nearly 2.1 million visitors, pushing cumulative arrivals for the first 7 months of the year to well beyond pre-pandemic levels.
Over 300 people have tragically drowned in France since June as more people jumped into rivers, canals, and other bodies of water to escape a record-breaking summer heat wave approaching 40 degrees Celsius.
올여름 프랑스에서 기온이 섭씨 40도 가까이 치솟는 기록적인 폭염을 피하려고 강과 운하 및 기타 수역으로 뛰어드는 사람들이 늘어나면서 지난 6월 이후 최근까지 익사사고로 안타깝게 사망한 사람이 300명 이상인 것으로 알려졌습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so we've been talking about the record-breaking heat wave that's been sweeping Europe, France, the whole area has been affected. So I guess a lot of people have been jumping into the water in order to stay cool, and this has been leading to a lot of deaths related to drowning. So more than 300 people have drowned in France since June 19th. That's a 14% increase from the same period last year. as people are seeking relief from this heat wave by swimming in rivers, in canals, any sort of water that they can find. So French authorities are saying that many of the accidents occurred in areas that didn't have lifeguards or where swimming is prohibited. So this has prompted the government to raise the fine for swimming in unauthorized areas from 38 to 68 euros. The heat wave has also disrupted other parts of the country, including temporarily halting a nuclear power plant and shortening opening hours at the Eiffel Tower, where wildfires and heat-related deaths are continuing to mount. Authorities are planning to expand safe swimming areas and strengthen water safety measures as they are continuing to see extreme heat overtaking the area.
It's so hot that people are choosing to jump into any body of water.
Yeah.
너무 더워서 이렇게 물에 풍덩 뛰어드는 사람들이 늘고 있다는 건데요. 그냥 물 하면 될 텐데 왜 body of water라고 할까요?
Yeah, well, it's they're talking about any like a collection of water or an accumulation of water, and it's found on the Earth's surface. So it doesn't have to be a closed body of water. So you could be talking about lakes, oceans, but also rivers and streams.
그래요. 수역을 영어로 body of water라고 해요. 그래서 단순히 그냥 water라고 하면은 뭐 수영장이 될 수도 있을 텐데 그런 거는 포함이 되어 있지 않으니까 여기서 바다라든지 호수, 강, 연못 이런 것들 그런 걸 다 영어로는 a body of water. So people are jumping into and have been jumping into all sorts of bodies of water, and unfortunately some people have died because of that.
Yeah.
그래서 과태료도 대폭 올렸대요.
Almost
원래
by double.
맞아요. 원래는 이제 이 강에 들어가시면은 뭐 5만 원이다. 뭐 이런 과태료가 있었는데 지금 대략 한 10만 원 정도로 우리 돈으로 환산을 하면
Yeah.
네, 그래서 38유로에서 68유로로 과태료도 올린 상황입니다. 근데 왜 그랬느냐? 왜 사람들이 이렇게 뛰어들었느냐? 너무 더워서. Temperatures were approaching 40 degrees.
Right. When something is approaching something, you've heard of an approaching car, and that means the car is coming towards you or it's coming closer. Right. So it's approaching so-and-so o'clock, and that means it's coming closer in time. So when something is coming closer in distance, time, amount, or quality, you can say that it is approaching.
Yeah, exactly. Approaching은 다가오는, 가까워지는 이라는 뜻이 있어서요. Approaching 40 degrees Celsius는 40도씨에 육박한 그런 더운 날씨를 얘기하고 있고 You can use it with time or a place, some event. 무언가가 다가오고 있다. 그럴 때 쓸 수 있는 표현입니다.
Yeah, I think it's human nature to want to jump into, a pool or jump into a lake when you're really hot.
Yeah.
But they warn that when you do have to be careful whether, because some bodies of water are deeper than it seems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, when you jump into a cold body of water, unexpectedly, your body can go into shock.
Exactly.
And I think that's what's leading to a lot of these drownings.
The fact that people like to, look for water, find relief with cool water in the summertime is just universal. I mean, in Korea, streams are very popular in the summertime.
Yeah.
And then those fountains that come out of the floor.
Yeah.
Those are very popular with kids.
Right.
So anywhere where there's water is quite welcomed. But in France, there has been some tragedy there. All right, let's have a look at the headline again. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Over 300 people have tragically drowned in France since June as more people jumped into rivers, canals, and other bodies of water to escape a record-breaking summer heat wave approaching 40 degrees Celsius. Let's move on to the next headline.
The US FDA has approved a blood test that can help doctors assess Alzheimer's related brain pathology in patients aged 55 and older, offering a highly accessible, non-invasive alternative to costly scans and painful spinal taps.
55세 이상 환자의 알츠하이머 관련 뇌 병리를 의사들이 판단하는 데 도움을 줄 것으로 보이는 혈액 검사 방법이 미국 식품의약국 FDA의 승인을 받았습니다. 이 검사는 그간 사용된 비용이 많이 드는 영상 촬영과 환자의 고통이 수반되는 뇌 척수액 채취 방법에 비해 접근성 높은 비침습적인 대안이 될 전망입니다. 네, 비침습적인 발음이 쉽지가 않네요.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in just a short while, but first of all, tell us about this approval.
Yeah, so they say it's the first and only FDA-approved blood test, and it's a single biomarker blood test to confirm or rule out amyloid pathology in the brain. It's the fourth Alzheimer's blood test approved by the FDA since last May, demonstrating a rapidly evolving yet highly regulated market for diagnostic technology. So they're planning on offering it immediately, and it will act as a more accessible alternative to expensive PET scans and these very invasive and painful spinal taps that are usually used to help detect Alzheimer's disease. And they will assist doctors in screening patients that are age 55 and older with cognitive impairment, helping to identify those who may benefit from new disease-slowing therapies.
그러니까 쉽게 말하면 피 한 방울로 알츠하이머를 조기 진단할 수 있는 거니까요. 기존에 있던 방법들에 비하면은 훨씬 고통이 덜하고
Yes.
시간도 그렇게 많이 걸리지 않을 것으로 우리가 예상할 수 있겠죠. 그래서 영어로 말하는 invasive 그리고 non-invasive treatment라는 게 뭐냐면은요. 일단 invasive를 먼저 볼게요. 몸을 절개하거나 주사를 놓거나 하는 이제 몸을 직접 건드리는 치료 이런 것들을 침습적인 치료, invasive treatment라고 합니다. 근데 비침습적인 치료, non-invasive treatment라고 하면은 피부를 절개하지 않고 몸 안에 기구를 삽입하지 않고 하는 그런 치료법이 되겠습니다.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is basically just a prick, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So non-invasive is usually used, when we're talking about, like laser treatments.
Okay.
Something that doesn't puncture your skin.
Yeah. 맞아요. 그게 제일 먼저 떠오르긴 해요. puncture라는 뭐 단어라든지 뭐 incision 이런 단어들. 그래서 nothing that cuts into your body or your skin.
Or something that's not painful.
Exactly. 네, 맞죠. 자, 그러면 표현을 좀 볼 텐데 to assess Alzheimer's related brain pathology. 여기서 assess 보겠습니다.
Yeah, assess. It's spelled ASSESS, and it means to evaluate, to judge, or to estimate the quality, value, or importance of something. In this case, it means to evaluate or carefully examine a situation or problem or a judgment. So doctors in this case will be evaluating a patient, evaluating their condition to evaluate their situation, to make a judgment on whether they have Alzheimer's or not.
네. assess라는 건 평가하다라는 의미가 있죠. 근데 여기서는 진단하다라고 보면 되겠네요. 무엇을 진단하는 거냐면 알츠하이머와 관련된 뇌의 병리를 이제 어느 정도 진단할 수 있게 될 것이다. 이런 뜻이고요. 그 병리에 해당되는 단어는 pathology입니다. 자, 그다음에 이제 가장 큰 장점이 이게 굉장히 접근성이 좋다라는
Yes,
거예요. 이게
right.
뭐 물리적인 접근성이 아니라 누구나 쉽게 할 수 있다라는 의미의 접근성이겠죠? 영어로는 뭐라고 하나요?
Well, it's highly accessible. So when something is accessible, it means that it's extremely easy to reach, to enter, to use, to obtain, or understand. In the medical sense, we say Korea's medical system is highly accessible because it's kind of removed the common barriers like high costs, the long wait times, maybe, or common physical environments.
Exactly. 누구나 쉽게 접근할 수 있는 이게 highly accessible 이라는 거고요. 거기에는 물리적인 접근도 포함이 되고 그 다음에 누구나 이용할 수 있다라는 그런 접근성도 포함이 됩니다. 다만 이제 검사 가격은 아직 공개되지가 않았지만 그래도 굉장히 많은 곳에서 원하면은 이제 검사를 받을 수 있을 것으로 이렇게 예상이 되니까요. 미국에서 검사를 앞으로는 보다 편리하게 할 수 있을 것 같네요. 고통도 좀 덜하고. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The US FDA has approved a blood test that can help doctors assess Alzheimer's related brain pathology in patients aged 55 or older, offering a highly accessible, non-invasive alternative to costly scans and painful spinal taps. Okay, let's move on to the next, to the final headline.
An unmanned 24-hour robot cafe in China has officially secured a Guinness World Record by preparing and serving 202 cups of coffee within a single hour at its Beijing launch.
중국 베이징의 한 24시간 무인 로봇 카페가 개장 당일에 단 1시간 만에 커피 202잔을 만들어 제공하면서 이 부문 기네스 세계 기록을 공식 달성했습니다. Wow.
Wow.
That was a busy robot.
A busy robot, and I'm wondering where will our workers go?
Yeah, baristas.
So, and I'm kind of also wondering what the coffee will taste like. But yes, it's a fully automated 24-hour robot cafe in Beijing, and it has set a Guinness World Record by serving 202 cups of coffee in just 1 hour. So each cup took less than 20 seconds to make. So this unmanned cafe, it uses robots for everything from grinding beans and brewing drinks to delivering orders to pickup lockers, while customers can customize the sweetness and coffee strength. The company says the system will help address high staff turnover, inconsistent drink quality, and the growing demand for round-the-clock service, while also reducing labor costs. And they're planning on expanding their stores, and they've announced a 10 billion yuan investment to open 10,000 stores within 3 years as China is seeing a booming coffee market.
What I love about this coffee making robot is that it's dressed in
Like a
a
barista?
jacket and it has necklaces like jewelry and a baseball cap. So it's kind of chic and hip looking.
But I wonder, why do you need to have a robot barista dressed up as
it just
something?
looks cool.
Because
everything's about, you know, the 감성. I don't
feel
know
like
what that is in
there's
English.
two different, I guess there are two different customers when you go to coffee shops. There's one that's looking for quick service. I just need my coffee, my morning caffeine. And then there are others where they're looking for that, you know, the morning kind of atmosphere. You want to sit down and have a coffee, maybe someone to chat with. So if you're looking for that, you don't want to go there.
Yeah, exactly. 저도 예전에 보면은 가끔 마트에 이런 이제 로봇 커피 제조기? 로봇이 커피 만들어주는 그런 기기들이 있어서 참 좋아했는데 어느 순간 보니까 또 사라졌더라고요.
Yeah.
그래서 더 많이 생겼으면 좋겠다 하는 생각을 그냥 가지고 있었는데 중국에는 아예 이런 커피숍이 있는 모양입니다. 로봇이 커피를 만들고 그다음에 완전 무인 커피숍인 거죠. 물론 우리나라도 무인 커피숍 많이 있어요.
Yes.
많이 있는데
Yeah.
자, 요
just press a
커피숍에는 예, 옷도 이렇게 입혀가지고 약간 얼굴 없는 로봇 같은 요 느낌, 예, 힙하더라고요. 자, 근데 무인 가게다.
Yes.
영어로 unmanned.
Right. So it's unmanned. It's UNMANNED. There are two N's. So that means it's operated or it exists without any human crew. There's no human pilot. So it could be an unmanned aircraft. So no pilots or human staff that's physically present. And sometimes you might hear the term uncrewed or unpiloted that's used instead. That's a little more gender neutral.
uncrewed라는 게 특히 이제 우주 비행선이라든가 이런 어떤 spaceship or just ship와 관련된 표현일 때는 많이 보죠.
Yeah.
왜냐하면 crew라는 것 자체가 선언의
Yes.
의미가 있을 수 있어서 uncrewed mission from NASA, for example, 뭐 이렇게 쓰는 것도 볼 수 있는데 이 카페 같은 경우에는 uncrewed 그러면은 약간 어색해서 아마
we
그냥
don't
unmanned로
call them crew.
그렇죠. 만약에 이 커피숍에 맞는 단어로 쓴다면은
Maybe unstaffed.
unstaffed.
Yeah.
그렇게 표현할 수도 있을 것 같고요. 아니면 그냥 아예 automated.
Yeah.
이렇게 자동화된 이런 표현을 쓸 수도 있을 텐데 unmanned가 여기서 쓰였습니다. 이게 좀 전통적인 표현이긴 해요.
Yeah.
요즘에 PC의
Yeah.
입장에서 보면은 man이라는 단어를 쓰는 걸 좀 지양하는 경향이 있긴 하지만 이 단어는 정말 수백 년 동안
Yes,
사용된
it's all right.
네, 그런 표현이기 때문에 다 이해를 하죠. 자, 무인, unmanned. 그다음에 launching something.
Yes. The launch or a launch, it's the act of starting something new. So it could be the start or release of a new product. It could also be the launch of a rocket or a ship, or it could be the launch of a new program.
그러니까 여기서 말하는 이 커피숍의 론치라는 것은 개장한 걸 말합니다. 그래서 오픈한 지 1시간 만에
Yeah.
이렇게 202잔의 커피를 부지런히도 만들어낸 로봇이에요.
20 seconds per cup.
맞아요. 자, 그래서 론치가 이렇게 어떤 가게가 오픈했다라는 의미로도 쓰인다는 거.
So you could have like a launching ceremony or a celebration.
Yeah.
So it could be a party or an event that's held to introduce something new, like a book launch
Yeah.
or a company launch as well.
Exactly. Well, since you mentioned that, a soft launch
Yes.
is not an official opening, but it's kind of like the test opening before it opens to everybody else. So they have a select group of people come in and see if they like the food, for example, and then based on that, they might change their direction a little bit. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. An unmanned 24-hour robot cafe in China has officially secured a Guinness World Record by preparing and serving 202 cups of coffee within a single hour at its Beijing launch. Well, that's it for today's headlines.
The number of births in June surged more than 15% year on year, marking the highest growth rate to date and the largest tally for the month since 1992, according to the Ministry of Data and Statistics.
올해 국내 6월 출생아 수가 작년 같은 달보다 15% 이상 급증하며 역대 최고 증가율을 기록했고 증가 규모도 1992년 이후 가장 큰 것으로 나타났습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, so 23,111 babies were born in June. That is up by 15.6% from June of last year. So that is the biggest month since 1992, going way back. And so birth rates are up, especially this year and certainly in the month of June in particular.
그래요. 6월 출생아 수가요. 23,111명이었습니다. 작년 같은 달에 비해서 3,000명 이상 늘었어요. 퍼센티지로 보면은 15.6%인데 이런 증가율은 통계 작성 이래 1981년 이래 역대 최고치를 기록했고요. 증가 규모는 또 92년 이후 가장 많았습니다. this is very good news because we don't have enough babies.
Absolutely. And also, there were a total of 21,075 couples who got married in June as well. That is an increase of 14% from the year before. So perhaps a year and 2 years from now, maybe we'll have more babies as well.
Exactly. I mean, we have under one in terms of the numbers of babies born per person, per woman, I should say. And we're hoping that figure will go up slightly by the end of this year. If it reaches 0.9, that'll be the highest in 7 years. So
we're getting there. I think 0.88 is where we're at now. So we do need a little bit more to get there. And also the number of deaths in June rose by 2% to 27,794. So population decline is happening as well.
Yeah, definitely. 그래요. 합계 출산율 같은 경우에는 6월 달에 0.88명이었는데요. 이제 올해 말쯤 돼서 연간 합계 출산율이 집계가 되잖아요. 그때 이게 한 7년 만에 0.9를 돌파할 수 있지 않을까 이런 기대감이 지금 생기고 있습니다. 자, 표현을 보겠습니다. The first one is something to date.
Something to date is a term we'll use when we're counting or looking at figures up to a certain point. And what point is that? It's up until now. So to essentially, if you have the date being a number, then it's going to that date. If it's up to now, then it could be literally up to this point. So you're talking about a time period.
그렇죠. 지금까지라는 뜻인데요. 아까 얘기했던 이제 출생아 수의 증가율 같은 경우에 15%가 넘었다고 했는데요. 이게 지금까지에 집계된 데이터 중에서는 가장 큰 퍼센티지입니다. 근데 물론 몇 달 후, 몇 년 후에 더 큰 퍼센티지가 나올 수 있으니까 그런 걸 열어두는 거예요. 그래서 to date, up until now, this is the biggest percentage. What's a tally, Jason?
A tally is a count. So if you're tallying, I don't know, maybe vote results, or you're tallying how many tickets you sold, then you're counting up the number of something. And it's, I guess it could be a large or small amount, but yeah, I feel like we're usually talking about larger numbers.
Yeah, exactly. tally라는 거는요, 숫자를 기록하는 겁니다. 숫자를 이렇게 세는 거, 그런 걸 다 tally, 명사로서 이제 그런 집계를 tally라고 하고, 세는 것을 tallying이라는 동사로 표현을 할 수가 있어요. 그리고 여러 번 언급하긴 했는데 이제 우리나라에서는 tally 할 때 5개씩 숫자를 발을 정자, 그 한자를 써서 이렇게 쓰는데 네, 영어권 국가에서는요. 세로로 된 짝대기 4개, 그다음에 이제 대각선 짝대기 하나 이렇게 해가지고 5개씩 묶어서 tally하는 건 똑같지만 하는 방식이 좀 다르죠.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember the first time I saw people counting that way.
Yeah.
What is
what
that?
What is that? It's very pretty, but what is it?
Yeah. But and the key is, I mean, even if it's written small or you're looking at it from far away, you know, if you know the pattern, then you know exactly how many it is.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter which language you speak, Korean or English. We like to count in fives.
Yes.
Because that's the easiest. That's how we tally. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The number of births in June surged more than 15% year on year, marking the highest growth rate to date and the largest tally for the month since 1992, according to the Ministry of Data and Statistics. Let's move on to the next headline.
The number of international students in Korea surpassed the 300,000 mark for the first time, according to data by the Education Ministry, with Vietnamese students overtaking Chinese nationals as the largest demographic group.
교육부 조사에서 국내 대학의 외국인 유학생 수가 사상 처음으로 30만 명을 돌파했으며 특히 베트남 출신 유학생이 중국을 제치고 가장 큰 비중을 차지한 것으로 집계됐습니다. Very interesting.
Yeah, international students. I think Korea has been trying to promote international students to come to Korea.
Yeah.
So this is certainly a step in the right direction. I did find it very interesting, like honestly, prior to seeing this article, if you had asked me what demographic group do you think is the largest in terms of nationals outside of Korea that are studying here, I would not have guessed Vietnamese at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Chinese would be a good guess, but yeah, I would have thought, many other different countries over Vietnam. So,
Well, K-culture is hugely popular in Vietnam, so I'm sure that had something to do with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Alright. 자, 그럼 표현을 보면서 내용 볼게요. To overtake, what does that mean?
If you're overtaking someone or something, then you are surpassing them or surpassing it. It could be a number that is overtaking something. It could be like, let's say a score. If like a basketball team could overtake another team in the standings or in the rankings. So you're kind of surpassing a figure or another object or item in some way, shape, or form.
So A overtakes B means A goes in front of B. But initially A was behind B.
Yeah.
And then A overtakes B and takes that position, I guess. 그래서 추월해서 그 자리를 차지한다는 뜻이 있어요. 만약에 제이슨 선생님이랑 저랑 달리기를 했는데 누가 이기고 있었다고 할까요? 제가 이기고 있었다고 합시다. 제가 이기고 있었는데 그 다음에 막판 스퍼트로 제이슨 선생님이 딱 저를 overtake 했어요. 그러면 선생님이 이기고 있는 거죠. 이런 게 overtake죠.
Yeah. A good term that we use similarly to this is leapfrog. So yeah, you could say that, somebody leapfrogged another person or a team leapfrogged that team, a country leapfrogged another country. So in the article, it would be Vietnamese students leapfrogged Chinese nationals. Chinese nationals were ahead, but now Vietnamese students are ahead.
네, 중국 학생들이 원래는 가장 많았는데 이제는 중국 학생들을 뛰어넘고 베트남 유학생들이 가장 많아졌습니다. 마치 개구리가 이렇게 깡충 뛴 것처럼 그래서 추월했다.
Is there a leapfrog term in Korean? Because it's also a game that we play. When you're kids, you kind of crouch down, and then your friend from behind you, they put their hands on your back, and then they jump over you.
Yeah.
So in English, we call that leapfrogging as kind of a game, but then it's also used figuratively in speech as well in these ways.
I forget the name of that game in Korean. Oh, I looked it up right now. 말뚝박기? 말타기? So Koreans think of a horse.
Yeah.
Getting up on a horse. Although in English, 영어로는 이제 개구리처럼 뛰어넘기 이렇게 표현을 하는 거죠. leapfrog라고 부릅니다. 자, 그다음에 demographic group. What does that mean?
Demographic group is when you have a lot of people and you divide them into different categories. And it could be by nationality, in this case. It could be by age. It could be based on where they live. So you're breaking it down into different categories. In this particular case, we're talking about your nationality, but it could be any different way or category that you're going to divide a group of people.
그렇죠. demographic라고 하면은요, 그 인구 집단을 얘기하고 있어서 여기서는 이제 어느 국적의 사람이냐라는 얘기를 하고 있다고 보시면 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 읽어볼게요. The number of international students in Korea surpassed the 300,000 mark for the first time, according to data by the Education Ministry, with Vietnamese students overtaking Chinese nationals as the largest demographic group.
The world's oceans have hit a record high average surface temperature of 21.1 degrees Celsius, according to the European Copernicus Climate Change Service, with scientists warning that a strengthening El Niño is compounding decades of human-driven warming.
전 세계 바다의 평균 해수면 온도가 21.1도로 사상 최고치를 기록했다고 유럽연합 코퍼니커스 기후변화 서비스가 발표한 가운데 과학계는 인간 활동으로 수십 년간 지속된 지구온난화가 최근 갈수록 강해지는 엘니뇨로 인해 더욱 악화되고 있다고 경고했습니다. All right. This is serious stuff. Tell us more.
Yeah, so the previous record was 21.09. Now it's 21.1 officially. The previous record was back in March of 2024, and they are saying that it's kind of strange that this record now happened when it did, because typically the spring numbers are higher as opposed to the summer numbers. So they found it interesting that this has happened, and because of the El Nino effect, they're predicting that perhaps in next spring or so that these records might be broken once again.
Yeah, and every 0.1 degrees Celsius counts when it comes to the temperature of the sea, right?
Absolutely. And this, we're talking about the global average.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, because the number is so vast in terms of how big the ocean is, every small little amount that it goes up, because when you're considering all the water in the world, literally, it's a significant amount, even a small amount of movement.
네. 이게 그 해수면 온도 같은 경우에는 정말 그 0.1도씨도 굉장히 유의미하기 때문에 이렇게 21.1도까지 올랐다라는 게 뉴스가 되고 있는데요. 이제 기존에 쟀을 때는 21.09도였다고 합니다. 평균 해수면 온도가. 그래서 이제 올랐는데 좀 이례적인 것은 보통 봄에 3, 4월쯤에 이렇게 해수면 온도가 상승하는 게 좀 정상적이지만 이번에는 8월에 올랐기 때문에 여러 가지 이상 기후의 증상들이 나타나고 있다는 거죠. 엘니뇨 현상으로 인해서 내년 여름도 올해보다 더 많이 더울 거라고 하는데 또 여러 가지 이런 현상들로 인해서 해수면 온도도 더 상승하면 어떡하나 많은 우려들이 나오고 있습니다. Right, so the oceans have hit a record high average surface temperature.
If you hit something, then you are accomplishing something, or you might be arriving at a destination that you were trying to get to. If you think about in baseball, you're trying to hit a ball. That's the purpose of your job as a hitter or a batter. You're trying to make contact with the ball. So you hit it, or if you're trying to go somewhere and you actually hit the point of what you're trying to get to, you're trying to reach a destination, well, then you've arrived because you've actually made contact by getting there. So you're kind of achieving something, you're arriving at a place, you're achieving a goal that you have set out to do.
무언가를 달성하다의 느낌이 있네요. 어디에 도달하다가 될 수도 있고. 그래서 the world's oceans, 전 세계의 바다가 have hit, 어디에 도달했느냐? A record high average surface temperature. 그 해수면 온도의 사상 최고치에 도달했다. 그걸 기록했다는 뜻이 되겠습니다. And what's compounding decades of human-driven warming? What's compounding?
If you compound something, then you're adding it on top of something. So it's an addition of some sort to something. And if we think of compound interest when we talk about banking, then what you're talking about is if you, let's say, receive 5% interest annually, then you take the money that you receive plus the initial money that you invested, and then that becomes the new amount. And then you're adding more money on top of that. So you're adding everything to the total amount that's been added to, rather than just the original amount that you had invested. So you're adding and adding.
Yep.
And they talk about, that's why compound interest is talked about. Even though it seems like such a small, 5% is such a small amount, but because of the compound interest, it becomes exponential after X number of years.
You're reminding me of my high school years. I had to calculate compound interest. It was so difficult. 그 복리라는 뜻이에요. Compound interest는.
Well, here's another way to explain compound is a compound word. And a compound word is two words that, have their own meanings that when you add it together, it makes a new word. So let's say like tooth brush, right? You have
Yeah.
a tooth and a brush. You add it together. Now you have a toothbrush,
Toothbrush.
right? So when you add words together, those are compounding as well. It's called a compound word.
그래요. 그러니까 compound word라고 하면은 두 단어가 합쳐져서 만들어진 단어가 되겠죠. 근데 compound라는 것 자체가 그러니까 의미가 이렇게 합친다, 누적한다라는 의미가 있을 수 있고 지금 이 헤드라인에서는 decades of human-driven warming 수십 년간 인간으로 인해서 지구온난화가 계속 일어나고 있는데 그게 누적이 되면서 지금 이제 엘니뇨가 또 거기에 더해지고 그러다 보니 내년에는 또 더운 여름이 예상이 된다.
Yeah, it's like saying on top of that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And you can say like on top of that. But it's
Yeah.
different when you're saying, oh, and on top of that. So it's like you're adding it, and it's like, oh man, there's even more on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. So intonation is really important. Okay, well, I'm going to read this one more time. The world's oceans have hit a record high average surface temperature of 21.1 degrees Celsius, according to the European Copernicus Climate Change Service, with scientists warning that a strengthening El Nino is compounding decades of human-driven warming. Let's move on to the next headline.
The Italian government is moving forward with an amendment to road traffic laws that would impose a minimum fine of 75 euros on pedestrians who cross streets while looking at smartphones or other electronic devices.
이탈리아 정부는 휴대전화를 비롯한 전자기기를 보면서 길을 건너는 보행자에게 최소 75유로, 우리 돈으로 약 12만 원의 벌금을 물리는 도로교통법 개정안을 준비하고 있는 것으로 전해졌습니다. Okay, so no more looking down at your phones.
I think this is a good thing.
Yeah?
I've seen a lot of times where people are at the crosswalk, they're looking down at their phones, and they notice out of the corner of their eye that somebody else is about to cross the road, and maybe they kind of scamper across. But then the person looking down is just kind of slowly walking, not realizing that maybe it's a red light,
Yeah,
or maybe
exactly.
there's a car coming, or things like that. So it's definitely very, very dangerous. Even not just when you're crossing the road, but even when you're at the crosswalk, if you're not paying attention, because a lot of people do that, where they just kind of look out of the corner of their eye, they notice other people are kind of moving, so they follow.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not the safest thing to do.
No, of course not. There's a word for... Oh my goodness. What's going on there? I'm so sorry about that. I think that's my phone. I apologize. There's a word for people who constantly look down at their phones while I'm trying to turn mine off, by the way. It's smombi.
Can
you guess what the two words-
Smartphone zombie.
Yes, exactly.
That absolutely makes sense. Yeah, I like that actually. A
Yeah?
smombi.
네, 그래서 그 스몬비, 그러니까 스마트폰 좀비처럼 계속 아래만 쳐다보고 다니는 행위가 얼마나 위험해요.
Yeah.
우리 특히 길 건너고 이럴 때. 그래서 이탈리아에서 이런 이제 특단의 조치를 취하고 있는 모습입니다. 도로교통법 개정안을 준비하고 있는데 우리 돈으로 한 12만 원의 벌금을 물리겠다 이런 뜻이 되겠어요. Okay, so they're moving forward with this.
Moving forward, meaning that they are progressing with it. You think of it literally, they're not standing still, right? If you're moving forward, then you're going in the proper direction that you want to be going. So you're doing something that you were planning to do.
Yeah.
You are not stalled, right? You are not stuck in the same place, or you haven't paused. You're actually moving forward, meaning that you're going in the right direction, or you're starting to do what you said you're going to do.
네, 이게 그러니까 어떤 것을 추진하고 있다는 의미로 쓰는 거죠. 그냥 사람이 앞으로 움직일 때도 move forward 하지만 move forward with something 이라고 하면은 무언가를 진행하다, 무언가를 추진하려고 한다라는 뜻이 되겠고요. 그다음에
And it's usually a plan of
Yeah.
some sort. So you have a plan to do something, but those are just words. But now the action is following the plans. So
got it.
yeah, think of it that way as well.
그래서 이탈리아 정부가 이 도로교통법 개정안 amendment를 추진하려고 하고 있다라는 의미로 it's moving forward with this amendment. And a pedestrian?
A pedestrian is someone who is walking. So you think of people driving cars, well, you have to stop at crosswalks to allow pedestrians to cross. So it's anybody who's walking on their feet. I think ped, P-E-D, is that not like foot, I think, in is it French or something like that?
Right.
I think.
So pedicure is the
Yeah,
manicure is for
that's
your hands,
right.
pedicure is for your feet. And I think that is the root for feet.
Yeah, okay. So a pedestrian, so think of P-E-D, ped is like feet. So then you think of a person who is on foot, a person who is moving on foot, because
그러네요.
P-E-D means foot, ped. So yeah, think of it that way.
pedal.
Pedal, yeah. There we go.
네, 다 발과 관련된 단어들이 이렇게 어원이 비슷하네요. pedestrian, 보행자가 되겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. The Italian government is moving forward with an amendment to road traffic laws that would impose a minimum fine of 75 euros on pedestrians who cross streets while looking at smartphones or other electronic devices. Now here's our final headline.
American country music legend Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80 following a brief battle with cancer, reps for the singer have confirmed.
미국 컨트리 음악계의 전설인 가수 돌리 파튼이 짧은 암 투병 끝에 향년 80세로 별세했다고 가수 측 대변인이 공식 발표했습니다. 9 to 5, I Will Always Love You.
The original version.
Yes, Dolly Parton. How very sad.
Yeah, certainly a country music icon that everyone knew from back in the day. You know, very sweet smile. And just kind of
Yeah.
always had a happy personality.
Yes,
Yeah.
always. I don't know how she did it. Yeah. So, of course, the world is grieving, and I think a lot of singers and Hollywood celebrities, they're also showing their respects as well.
And another famous actor recently passed away as well, Tim Curry, who you might remember from Home Alone 2 as the movie. Is also famous for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. But certainly a couple of icons as of late.
He passed away on the same day as Dolly Parton. 네, 배우 팀 커리도 역시 같은 날, 또 공교롭게도 같은 연세셨네요. 역시나
he's
80세였고.
Also 80 years old.
네.
Oh.
이제 별세했다는 소식이 전해지고 있습니다. 팀 커리 같은 경우에는 그 Home Alone 2에서 그 호텔 컨시어지 역할을 했었죠. 얼굴 보면은 뭐 너무나 잘 아실 텐데. 자, dolly Parton 별세 소식입니다. She had a brief battle with cancer.
Brief is something that is short. So it didn't go on for a long time. It was just a short thing. And what was that thing? It was a battle with cancer. And a battle is like a fight of some sort. A battle could be part of a war, but it's kind of a fight within a war, typically. So also it's we often do say this, like you had a battle with cancer in particular is usually the way that it'll be expressed.
네. 무엇과의 투병이라는 뜻인데요. 영어로는 battle이라는 단어를 씁니다. 그래서 battle with 무엇 이라고 질병 이름을 쓰면 되는데요. 짧은 투병이었대요. Brief battle with cancer. And this is according to the reps.
The rep, so rep is short for, in this case, it'd be a representative. So someone that represented her, someone who's speaking or acting on her behalf. Right. So she was not being active. She was not saying this, but somebody else was speaking for her.
네. 그래서 여기서 말하는 그 reps는 대변인이 되겠습니다. representative를 줄여서 쓴 말이라고 보면 되겠어요.
Yeah, so in this case, rep is short for representative, but rep can also be short for reputation. So say, I don't want to ruin my rep. I don't want to ruin my reputation. So it can be short for a different word as well with a completely different meaning. So do be aware of that when using it.
줄임말이 때로는 또 다른 단어의 줄임말이 될 수도 있으니까 그거는 컨텍스트를 보면서 해석하면 되겠죠? 다시 읽어보겠습니다. American country music legend Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80 following a brief battle with cancer, reps for the singer have confirmed. Well, that's it for the headlines this morning.